minute would be a green crayon. 1 minute and 30 seconds would be a yellow crayon. And 2 minutes is going to be the red colored pencil. That's my role for this evening, and I'd like to go ahead and we could select on back to Mrs. Toastmaster. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Donovan. I really enjoyed, I know Zoom has been a little different, but I enjoy seeing the creative color schemes we have for each time we have timers, so that's fun. All right, and if we could please get the roll from the all counter.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Hello again, my name is Carrie. I am your all counter tonight. My role as an all counter is to count the number of unnecessary sounds or repetitive words you may use during your speech, such as those unnecessary words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Ever since joining Toastmasters, anytime I'm listening to a speech on TV or really anything, I just notice it now. I try to ignore it, but it does drive me crazy, especially on like professional speeches or news addresses. But anyways, can we please get the report and the word of the day from our grammarian?
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. My name is Kyler, and I will be your grammarian today. So my goal as grammarian will be to listen carefully to everyone speaking and make sure I don't hear any abuses of the English language or any incorrect grammar. The word of today is pathos, and that is a Greek term meaning emotion. So that'll have to do later with my my education overview. I'm going to go over 3 different terms that would be helpful tools. But one of the ones that I think may be one of the most helpful is pathos, which is emotion.
Can you use that in a sentence, please?
Sure. A quality that evokes pity or sadness, or that can be invoking emotion.
Okay. Can you use that for us in a sentence?
Sure. The actor injects his customary humor with pathos into the role.
All right, thank you. Pathos. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much. And then next, can we hear from the Toastmaster, please? Sorry, the Table Topics Master.
Yes, I am. As Table Topics Master, I will be giving, well, I have a sheet here with 365 table topics here. And with each volunteer, I'll give them a table topic. I guess this time around, I won't have them pick a number. I will pick it for them. But they have 1 to 2 minutes to give an impromptu speech based on the subject that I give from this sheet.
Awesome, thank you. And you can choose to insert pathos into your table topic speech or not. The choice is yours. So with that being said, I will now turn it over to our table topics master for the rest of this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have a volunteer? Okay, Kyler. Your table topics question for this evening is, how do you deal with someone in a position of power who wants you to fail?
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. I've been asked, how do I deal with someone in a position of power who wants me to fail? That is a tough question. That's something that I would say I don't totally know the answer to. I think there could be more than one answer to that question. But I've had job positions where, a boss has, wanted me to fail or set me up for failure, or maybe the boss themselves, felt like, the situation couldn't be improved. So it's better just to put the blame on whoever's under them. The best thing to do in that situation, of course, is to do your best. It sounds pretty straightforward, But once your morale gets broken and you start just kind of letting things slide, then you'll be in a worse position than you would be in. And then the second thing to do, of course, is to document all the attempts you're making. I feel like, oftentimes, especially in my line of work, you don't get results immediately. They may be way down the road, or you might get your results. You might, like I say, you might try everything you can, and there's nothing you can do but go take a different path. But I think documenting all of those attempts can show, other parties that, regardless of, what your boss or the person in power is thinking or feeling, you did the best you possibly could. And I think people notice that. And in my personal experience, I was in a situation where I could move to a different department because someone saw the amount of work that I was putting into the difficult situation and the way that I was handling it, so that they saw that, it wasn't due to my error, and that, I was attempting to face this kind of insurmountable situation, and did so without making it worse. So that, like I said, that's just what I did. It may not work for everybody. And some people may have, other stories that may even be worse than mine. But it's when someone empowers against you, it can be pretty almost impossible to, get past that situation. So in that case, document and don't give up, and, a new opportunity will come.
All right, thank you, Tyler. Next volunteer.
I'll try.
David, your table topics question is it more important to do what you love or to love what you are doing?
Good evening, everyone. My question is it more important to love what I do or do what I'm loving?
Is it more important to do what you love or to love what you are doing?
Okay. I think my answer to that question is it can be difficult. My job for my career as a civil engineer, I enjoyed parts of it. I've enjoyed the technical challenges that I had throughout my career, but a lot of my job I didn't really enjoy because a lot of it, I worked for the state of Alabama for the Department of Transportation. That's my hat that I still have. And it's a bureaucracy. So a lot of what we did was a bureaucracy. It's just like what you see on TV or you hear about on the news. It's all this red tape that we have to work through. And there's a purpose for that. Without it, without checks and balances, you just always have corruption, but it can be very frustrating. So I think I don't know, I think you can have it both ways. I don't always love what I do, but I do love the parts of my job or love parts of what I do. But on the other hand, for life to be fulfilling and purposeful and for me to have meaning in my life, I need to do things that I don't always enjoy doing. And ultimately, though, there's a satisfaction that I get from that I otherwise wouldn't have. So I don't want to always love everything I'm doing necessarily, but I do want to be fulfilled. I do want to have a purpose, and I want to, do something with my life. And I think I'm starting to ramble, so I'll end it with that. Thank you very much, and back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
All right, thank you, David. Okay, next. Okay, Cheyenne. What's something you do differently than most people?
Let's see. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I've been asked tonight, what is something that I know I do differently than most people? Well, currently, I am unemployed, so my routine looks different than the average person's of getting up at 8 and coming home at 5. I haven't always been without a job. I just lost my job before Christmas. So it is different for sure. Feels like it's been a lot longer than it has. But I didn't really appreciate the routine until I didn't have it anymore, because I've learned that I'm very good when I know what I need to do and when I have instruction and I have a set schedule. So it's definitely been different and interesting seeing how I respond to just a free range of time. It's been different and definitely difficult to adjust to, but I think ultimately it's a good period for rest. And also, I have learned to just appreciate this time and try to learn a new skill or maybe take my career in a different path that I maybe wasn't thinking of before. So just making the best of it and know that I'm lucky right now. And I know once I start working again, I'll probably be like, oh, I wish I was at home again. But that is all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cheyenne. Next person, next volunteer. Okay, I see Cole's hand raised. And I'll get you next, Carrie. But Cole, I see you raised your hand. Let me pick a question for you. I see one, but it's going to be difficult for, I think this one's going to be difficult for 1 to 2 minutes. How have you changed in the last 5 years? I'll pick that question. How have you changed in the last 5 years?
Sure. Do forgive me for not knowing the formalities of the introduction, but my name is Cole, and to give a brief overview of what I do and a little bit more about me, I am a minister, and so I speak 2 to 5 times a week to different age groups of people. So that is why I'm interested in Toastmasters, because I have a lot of my daily work is preparing times to speak to people. But you asked me how I've changed over the last 5 years. The biggest thing is I'm now married. So I have changed certainly for the better. My spouse has greatly improved the person that I am as far as my responsibilities and the consistency that I bring to my daily life and how that affects her and how I'm responsible to her. Furthermore, I graduated recently this past December. And so I spent 3 years earning a master's degree to prepare me for a full-time career in ministry. So in that way, I have become more educated than I ever thought I would be in my life. And so I'll be brief and say that those are my 2 answers. So thank you for allowing me to join you tonight and share a little bit about myself. I certainly look forward to getting to know more of you, getting to know you better. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Cole. And I saw Carrie's hand up at the same time as Cole, so I'll go to you. Carrie, what would you not give up for $1 million in cash?
One more time.
What would you not give up for $1 million in cash?
Hello, everyone. My question is about something money. I'm not gonna give, no matter how much I get, I wouldn't, or I won't give up my life, my dream, and especially my health, because the health is most important, much more than anything about myself. If I have a good health, just in case I lost $1 million, I still can go on. My life could be go on. But if I lost the health, my life, that's all. Health is always important to me, no matter how much I get. The $1 million, I would never give up my life, especially health. The second thing is, of course, my dream, my career. The dream, what I want, the career I pursue. I don't want to give up no matter how much I get the money. But ideally, I would get the $1 million result of my career or my job. That's the ideal. Those 2 things I don't want to give up, although I get, no matter how much I get the money. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carrie. Let's see, we have at least 10 minutes left according to the regular schedule. Let me see. I see that Donovan, are you willing to take a table topics? Okay. Your question is, what stands between you and happiness? What stands between you and happiness?
Thank you. My question that I got is what, can you repeat the question, please?
What stands between you and happiness?
Thank you. What, the question I have is what stands between me and my happiness? Well, that's a pretty hard question, but let me just give you, well, there's a long version and a short version, and so we have 10 minutes, I'm just going to give you the short version. So, a lot has changed now, but one, my mom lost a job, and that's sometimes, but what really stands is love, love for my parents. I'm not just saying this because my photos here, but I'm just saying it because it's true, because without love, you're not going to be happy. It doesn't matter what you love, it's about what's inside you and how you bring that to the surface and how you would do that. And I guess my answer to this question is love, because it's so big that it feels everything. Thank you. Back to you, Louise.
All right, thank you, Donovan. Yeah, before I give out the next question, I see there's an interesting question here. It'll be hard for me to do within 1 to 2 minutes unless I really think about it. But this might be for the future, for future table topics. And it is, what would your priceless MasterCard style commercial be? I mean, it would be fun to answer that, but that would be a question, that would be a table topics question for the future. What would your priceless MasterCard style commercial be? Okay, let's see. But in the meantime,
I could do that one, Maurice.
oh, okay, go ahead, Cheyenne.
Okay. All right. So here's my pitch for my commercial, my producers, my executive team here, my Shark Tank panel, if you will. So picture it. It opens up and you're on a beach in Italy, all right? Then it switches real quick and you're on the beach in Mexico, all right? Beach not your thing, all right? We're gonna fast forward. You're walking through the city in New York. You're eating a big slice of pizza that's the size of your face, all right? Then we're gonna switch forward again, and you're gonna be driving through the Grand Canyon or driving through Colorado or somewhere beautiful and scenic. Then you're gonna be standing in front of a glacier in Alaska, and it's gonna tell you money comes and goes, but memories and travel is priceless. Because one of the priorities in my life is traveling and seeing the world and seeing what's out there. Like people that buy expensive things, that's great for them, but when I see a price tag on a bag that's like $2,000, my first thought is you could literally go on a trip with that money. That is like a plane ticket cost right there. So my commercial would be an advertisement to live life to the fullest and use your resources, your financial resources, your energy into something that lasts, like memories, traveling with your family or your significant other, going somewhere new and seeing something you haven't seen before, because the happiness of that is going to last way longer than spending your money on a material item. I still remember trips that I went on as a child but I don't remember a toy they bought me when I was the same age. So those memories, to me, are a more fruitful way to spend your resources. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You can contact my agent if you'd like to film that commercial. So.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Cheyenne. Let's see. Well, I saw one. I saw a good one, but there's so many that if you take your eyes off it, you lose it. I'm going to try to find a good one. Okay, is there a volunteer? We'll just go around again. I guess we've done everyone at least once, so we'll go back to Kyler. Let's see if I can find a good one. Okay, this is interesting. Is the reward worth the risk?
All right, greetings, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I've been asked, is the reward worth the risk? And the answer is, it depends. What are you risking? What is your reward? I'm a very risk-averse person when it's something that I don't really necessarily want. If there is a long line to get, the latest PlayStation or whatever, I don't want to risk losing my time and not getting it because that time is more valuable to me. You can ask Cheyenne, I hate waiting in line for anything because I'm like, well, I just get it later because I don't want to give up that amount of time that I would spend. If the risk were something like maybe a chance at a better paying job or something like that, or applying for something like a degree or something, then that risk is definitely worth it. If the risk is something like, a stock that might become valuable at some point in time, I'll definitely take that risk. If the risk is like GameStop, I'm not going to take that risk. That's just not me. Some people will. Some people did take that risk and they were rewarded greatly for it. But I just don't have that kind of nerve. So to me, it definitely depends. I will only risk it if I know for sure I will get the biscuit.
Yes.
Doesn't believe in the lottery.
Yeah, I don't believe in the lottery. It's absurd. Just put it in the stock market. It's better.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Kyler. And it's 18 after, so it'll be one more table topic before we move to evaluations. And I'll ask the question and then someone can volunteer to answer it. Okay, this is similar to to one of the last ones. What will you never give up on? I said anyone can take it.
I'll try. Okay,
Go
Mike.
ahead.
Thank you, Maurice. My question is, what will I never give up on? And that can evoke a lot of emotions. I've accomplished a few things in my life. I'm 56 years old. And I think the answer for myself, and probably for most of you, is I'll never give up on myself. At times, I wonder what life is all about. I really do. What are we here on this earth for? And sometimes things can feel hopeless with everybody in the world that's hurting and all of the things that are wrong in the world, but there's a lot of things that are right too. And I can be a part of that. I can be a part of helping other people and just be a part of life. But to do that, I have to believe in myself first. I can't help anyone else if I don't believe in myself. And whether I do that through a higher power, through God, through whatever one's religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs are, there's an underlying theme. There's something here, and it's very real, and it's something I want to be a part of. I don't want to just go through the rest of my life or without a purpose. And sometimes it's a struggle for me. I think perhaps for other people as well. But there's times when I just want to give up, but I never do. And because there's lots of people that are depending on me, and I want to be part of society. I want to be part of this wonderful thing that we are all existing on, this incredible technology, and it's just amazing. Life is really amazing sometimes. And I think I'm rambling again, so I'll stop again. But thank you for that great question, Maurice.
All right, thank you, David. And at this time, I will relinquish the lectern back to Madam Toastmaster.
All right, thank you. That was a good table topics. I know some of them on that list they're really personal, like confess to a crime you've never told anyone you've committed before. But there are some good ones on there past those. So thank you for leading us with that last minute, Maurice. We appreciate it. And thank you for sharing, Cole. I know sometimes it's a little daunting to share in front of people you never met before, but we appreciate hearing why you're here, and we hope you like it. And feel free to ask anyone any questions if you're curious about coming again. So with that, I will turn the lectern over to the general evaluator, and they will call up the role of evaluators. Thank you.
Good evening, members and Toastmasters. I am your general evaluator tonight. I'm going to make an overall evaluation for this meeting later. So let's move on to each roles. Let's start with the grammarian.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. So as a grammarian, I did not hear any abuses of the English language, which is great. Everyone sounded awesome. I think from my notes, Cheyenne was the only person who used the word of the day. If someone did use the word of the day and I missed it, feel free to call me out on that, but I think I only heard Cheyenne use it. But other than that, I think we did great this evening. Everybody sounded good. I didn't hear any major hiccups or grammatical errors. So back to you, Carrie.
Thank you, Tyler. Next counter, which is me. Let's start Kyler's first table topic. I detected 8 times, 12 times, like 1 time. And the second of you made a 2 table topics. The second one is 6 times for 3 times, that's all. Next, David. For your first table topic, I detected so, unnecessary so. And the second one, I didn't anything. Cheyenne, I have, and for first one, I didn't detect anything. The second one, I heard that once. So one time for so. Cole, I heard twice for this is your first time. This is very good for you. Donovan, I heard so for 1 time. And that's all. Thank you. And back to myself. Next, timer.
Thank you, Kiwi. First off, I want to go ahead and say that since we're like in a contest, I'm going to go ahead and tell the times of each person. First, myself, I had 1 minute and 1 second. Cheyenne, was your full speech, 1 minute and 27 seconds. David, for his full speech, 1 minute and 55 seconds. Carrie, fourth and only one. Cut off full speech, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And Cole, this doesn't really matter to you, Cole, but I detect 1 minute and 19 seconds, but if you want to know how long you have done and the future, if you want to join Toastmasters, we keep up the time of people speaking. Cheyenne's second speech is 1 minute and 15 seconds. David's second speech, well, second topic, actually, he got the same time as he did. It was 1 minute and 55 seconds, and Kylo's second speech was 1 minute and 36 seconds. Thank you. Back to you, Madam.
Generator.
Kylo. Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. It's 7:30. We can't really think clearly. I understand. But I guess that's all for the each rules, right? So it's time to make an overall evaluation. And first of all, I would like to emphasize this. We have a great guest, Cole. Thank you so much for coming. You're very welcome to our club. And you're always welcome to come back to our club. And we're all happy to have you tonight. Second, we started on time, which is very good. It's very good function. That's great. Third, although we have a no prepared speech tonight, we really enjoyed the table topic, and we are all had a chance to talk at least once each of us. That's very nice. And we have a small group overall, but we have a great time. Thank you. And now back to like kind of a table topic, not table. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carrie.
Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. All right, so for our last portion, we will go to our educational overview, which will be presented by Kyler tonight.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. This evening, I will be presenting the educational overview, which will be coming from it's actually April 2019, so it's kind of an older issue of the Toastmasters magazine. But I was flipping through it, and this one caught my eye because it was based on Aristotle's rhetoric. And you guys know I love any sort of philosophy or Aristotle, Plato, anything like that. It's going to catch my attention. So they're taking these old ideas and applying them to modern public speaking. So as many of you may know, Aristotle was famous for pointing out that if you wanted to convince somebody of something, you had to use tools that he called rhetoric. You know, you can't just tell somebody what they should believe and they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, thanks. You know, they usually are gonna want to argue with you, or they're gonna be like, no, I don't believe that, or that's not my thing, or whatever. Or, I voted for the other guy, like, you know, whatever. You know, so if you want to persuade someone, especially in public speaking, Aristotle recommends 3 different tools. One of them was our word of the day, which is pathos. It's evoking emotion while you're speaking. And then we have ethics or ethos, and this is using your past credibility. So maybe something along the lines of, you know, I am an expert in, you know, underwater basket weaving, or I have done this, or I've done that. You know, like a professor, or, you know, Cole's case, like a minister, somebody who has been there and has done that, and that is their ethos or their ethics. You know, it shows you, you know, I know what I'm talking about. You know, and then the last one is logos or logic. So in short, you want to make sure your arguments are logical and sound. You want it to make sense. Sometimes people, you know, especially a lot of politicians nowadays, will try to use illogical arguments. Like they'll say like, well, if we do this, it's going to lead to that. And it's like, there's no real correlation. And that may work in the short term, but in the long term, if you're not using a truly sound argument, you're going to lose people. They're going to say like, you know, well, that guy's hyperbolic, or that guy's a sensationalist, or that guy's, you know, he's just pulling stuff out of his butt. You know, like you got to have sound logic. So these are the three main tools that Aristotle recommends using when giving a public speech. The author of the article, of course, goes on to mention, you know, be careful of logical fallacies. And the reason they bring this up is pathos, the emotion, may be one of the most powerful tools of rhetoric. If you can get someone's emotions, you know, you can get them feeling empathy, you know, fear, you know, anything like that. Sometimes they'll overlook the logic. And the author points out that, you know, if you do that, again, it'll work short term, but not long term. You know, people will eventually see through that. And then eventually the author wraps it up by saying, you want to do three things when you are giving a speech and using these tools. You want to inspire everyone you're talking to. You want to convince them to change, to make the change, or to see things from your perspective. And then you want to do a call to action. You know, now that you have this information, now that I've told you about, you know, pathos, logos, and ethos, I want all of you to try to use it in your next speech. And that is the call to action. Anyway, so that's kind of the gist of it. I liked it a lot because, like I said, you can, you know, as long as you quote somebody from ancient Greece, I'm gonna be like, that's so cool, you know. So anyway, that's the end of our educational overview. I hope it was helpful to you. If you have any questions afterwards, feel free to reach out and ask me.
All right, thank you, Kyler. That was a good educational overview. I think some people, when you listen to speeches, sometimes they forget the emotion or they forget to make it relatable, and then it just kind of is monotone, it's not personal, and then you kind of lose your audience that way, especially if it's something that's important. You know, they either think you're not being genuine or you don't know anything about, you know, what you're speaking of. So thank you for bringing those points to our attention. We do like to keep those Toastmasters articles because I'll read something one time and forget about it, but I have to hold on to it so we can, you know, go back and look at it. So we have a little collection of some of the best ones that they've sent out, and I like to look at them. Actually, my last public relations job, I had a few that had to do with PR, social media, talking during different crises and stuff. I actually kept them in my desk, so they're really helpful. So anyways, it was a good meeting, and I will turn it over to our acting president for this evening, and I believe that is Mr. David. So thank you.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening, especially Cole, our special guest. We don't get a lot of guests now on Zoom. When we met in person, we had quite a few. We used to meet at Carpe Diem, the little coffee shop on Old Shell Road. And so we would kidnap people from down below and bring them upstairs to the meeting. Not really, but we would always get one or two guests, or quite often. But I would say that one thing, it strikes me since I've been in Toastmasters for a little over a year, but we're all different in the sense that we all, you know, we come from different backgrounds. We have different things we want to work on. But the one thing we do have in common is we all have courage, because it really does take courage to come here and do this. People, I know several people that I worked with that are real extroverted people, but the idea that they would come and give a speech at a Toastmasters meeting would terrify them. And it can be a scary thing to do. But since coming, I've really learned that this is a place where I can relax and just practice and work on my communication skills. And that's something, communication skills is something I think everyone, like I believe it was Cheyenne pointed out about politicians, you hear them with using filler words now. And that's one of the reasons that we keep up with filler words like, you know, or ah, is because silence can be a very powerful communication tool. But there's I guess a human nature of desire to always have noise or background noise, but silence can be very powerful in talking. And timing is also another important role that we do here. That's why we time everything we do, because in real life, you've heard people that give up and give maybe a great speech, but they don't know when to stop, and it goes on and on and on, and eventually people, it loses its meaning or loses its effect. But normally we do have 2 speaker slots, which are typically 5 to 7 minutes at each meeting, and people can sign up and volunteer to give speeches. We have what we call a pathways, which is basically the Toastmasters course, because Toastmasters is an international organization. It's all over the world, but we're just a little local group here. But you can work through different different type classes, whether you want to be a humorous type speaker or leadership or whatever. And also, like I said, this is really just a great chance to practice, and it's okay to mess up. I mess up my fair share of times, and it's just, it can seem, when I first came here, I really thought it was going to be pretty boring, like, oh gosh, this is going to be like a staff meeting at work, but it's really not. People are fun, and we do different things, and it's really a fun group, and I've enjoyed it. So maybe this sounds like a little Toastmaster spiel to, come on, join, but it's fun, and I have the time, and I've really grown from it. I've learned that I can get up and speak and make progress. And there's things I still am working on, but really the other members here are what inspire me. It's what helps me keep going, just because I learn from you. I learn from what you're doing, and I pick up on your strong points and try to apply them as well. So, but that's, I think, about all I have. I appreciate Kyler's educational overview. I love ancient Greek stuff, and that's pretty cool. And there's always something, it's never ending, the list of things to learn. But I think what you said, especially about using logical arguments and not picking any sides on anything, but that's something that seems to be really missing in our world today. Everybody wants to go on emotion, and it's, in myself included. I mean, when I feel a certain way about something, I don't want to hear anybody tell me I'm wrong. I just want to feel that strong emotion, but I'm really learning that if I can set aside my own beliefs and bracket, just sit and listen and try to truly communicate, that life is better. And I learn more, because I've got a lot more to learn than I do to give others. I mean, I have a little bit to give maybe, but I've got a lot to learn. So that's, I believe, all I have. Like I said, I thank everybody, especially Cheyenne for being our Toastmaster, and Maurice for the table topics. And everybody had a role, I think, this evening. And we're at 7:38. Normally our meeting goes for an hour, 7:45, but we did not have any speeches. So we did pretty good filling in the time. Everybody got a chance to do 2 table topics, I believe, or almost everybody. But so that's about all I have. I try to help fill in for Luke when he can't make it. And Luke has actually been in Toastmasters, I think, for 3 or 4 years. He has a lot more experience than I do. He's in the Coast Guard, and he uses Toastmasters to build his leadership skills and his communication skills in that avenue. So, and and to be honest, I'm retired now from the state of Alabama as a civil engineer. I worked for almost 30 years, and I really wish I had found Toastmasters earlier in my career, because I think it would have really been helpful. Not just because I want to advance myself in my career, I did fine, but because it would have made work more fulfilling. The better I can communicate, the better everything is. And so that's about all I've got. And does anybody have anything else they'd like to add? We've got a few minutes. If anyone would like to share or say anything, you're welcome to, so you don't have to listen and see my face on the screen. Go ahead, Cole.
I want to say thank you again. I really enjoyed it. Everyone seems wonderful. I definitely plan on attending again. And a side note is, one of the last classes I took for my seminary degree was a philosophy class. And so I thoroughly enjoyed that. It really expanded my brain further than I thought was possible to the point that it hurt. So I would love to discuss that sometimes, but it was a pleasure to get to know all of you this evening, and I look forward to the next one. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Cole. And I guess that's about all we've got, unless anybody has anything else. I'm always begging people to talk. Okay, well, thank you. And we will adjourn for this evening, and we'll meet again here on Monday on Zoom. Eventually, we hope to have the hybrid meetings going, but that's still a work in progress, but we'll get there eventually. So, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.